Hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
My name is Junky, except it's not, but that's what you will know me as.
Okay.
And that's Hank.
Hi, I'm Hank. Hello.
All right. So, first things first.
Yeah.
The last episode, we started off by talking about one Paul Fletcher. That man doesn't exist. His name is Paul Fleck. So that's just like in the news section at the bottom, it has like a scroll thing with like the fact check. That's just the quick little disclaimer fact check. Paul Fleck, go like, comment, follow, subscribe, all his social medias and Twitch. Give that man some love. He's a great, beautiful man, and I butchered his name because I don't even know anyone with the name Fletcher or like last name Fletcher, so just no idea where that spawned from, but
I
that was
mean,
his
at the
name.
time, I didn't know if you had forgotten his name or if it was a bit, and I decided to just let it roll.
No, that's
It's part of why I was
that's what
dying so hard last time.
that's what they teach you in improv classes. Like the first, not that I've taken it, but I took like some acting classes in high school.
Don't say
like
no.
Secondary, whatever. Yeah, you don't say no. You always say yes. So you were a great supporting cast member to my shenanigans of butchering his last name. But I was like, actually, when I listened back, I was like, wait a minute, who the fuck is Fletcher? Like, and I so thought I was saying Fleck. That's the scariest part. Like in my mind, my head heard Fleck, but my mouth said Fletcher. So there you go.
That's hilarious.
Bam. It's so stupid and bad.
I know.
And that's when Paul was like, "You got my name wrong" or whatever. I was like, "Ha ha, good joke." No, it wasn't a joke. You were just being a dumbass.
I'm glad I have closure on that.
Yes, I'm about to say we left them in suspense for when was the last episode? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks of agonizing distress. I'm sure that was on the mind of every listener. Nothing else. No current events going on in anyone's lives that impact their materialistic well-being. Just wanting closure on who the fuck Paul Fletcher is. How are you doing, Hank?
I'm doing
The
okay.
second week where, democracy is intact for the time being.
Yeah. I'm doing okay. I got pizza today. It was
Ooh.
a little too greasy.
I was about to say, do we discuss favorite pizza toppings, or are you just like it cheese?
Just cheese. I'm not
Alright,
a topping
see,
person.
I'm pretty much the same, except I've grown to like either grilled chicken or like fried chicken on it. That can be good. But we are like in the pizza capital of the world, New Jersey. So now I'm curious though, is if you have like a standard pizza place, or did you try somewhere new?
I have a standard pizza place that's like a block away,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been ordering garbage pizza because I've wanted garbage
Like from
recently.
like a Pizza Hut like chain, or
Yeah,
just like
Papa John's, just because I wanted garbage.
But see,
I wanted garbage.
I don't, unpopular take, I don't mind Papa John's. I, compared to the other chain,
I think
like,
of it as a
doesn't
different food, mostly. It's like kind of not the same as like actual pizza to
actual
me.
pizza, right?
Yeah,
Like, I don't mind it. Like, once they ousted the actual Papa, and they
yeah.
went crazy, it's like, you know what, man? I don't feel as guilty about eating it.
Mm.
But like it's that weird middle ground of like it isn't as shitty as Pizza Hut and like
Pizza Hut,
those other
I actually
ones.
won't eat. Pizza
I
Hut,
can't eat
I
it. Like
hate.
it's disgusting. Like I
Yeah.
actually don't understand how people can like that and
Yeah.
think it's actual pizza.
Mhm.
That like destroys my heart.
I used
And
to
then they come here.
prefer
Yeah.
Domino's, but then Domino's did something, and I haven't. And then I stopped liking Domino's and haven't gotten. And then switched basically to Papa John's at some point.
Yeah, because I haven't. God, like Pizza Hut, like I also couldn't tell you like the difference between them both because I just never really
Yeah.
had them because like we have so many local pizzerias that are just so freaking good.
Yeah. No.
And like Support
Honestly,
the
it's
small
literally
businesses,
just
man.
because of COVID that I would do that. Under normal
You're divulging
circumstances,
yourself. You're
I
like,
would
yeah,
yeah. Under normal circumstances, I would go to a place and get a pizza from them. But
uh-huh.
in COVID, I'm like, deliver me garbage to my face, please. Thank you.
Oh, totally. Like my routine of where I get my food has like completely altered due to COVID, and thank God there's like delivery apps. Like I use Grubhub, not sponsored, but please sponsor me. I use your
Yeah.
app every fucking day.
It is
Um,
hilarious that I or get garbage and it's worse than the really good pizza. It's like more expensive rather than the really good pizza I could get.
yeah, but the only good thing about Papa John's is though usually they have like always like a 25% or 50% off coupon or something if you
Mm,
search it up. So then it's like, all right, then I don't feel as bad. But like you said, it's already naturally overpriced to the point where with that coupon, it's like, oh, I could have just gotten an actual pizza
yeah.
for like. But I don't mind it. I don't hate Papa John's. Like the other two, Domino's and Pizza Hut, like I can't eat that without my stomach actually being like, what is this greasy garbage? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But Papa's, I don't hate on that. That's fine. Um, Outside of pizza talk, see the riveting. Or can we become a pizza podcast?
I just
Except we're
there's
both
not
like,
enough. Not enough
there's
content on
we're
that bone.
but like I would argue there's potentially like because there's so many freaking cook shows and different
Oh yeah,
places
like
interpret pizza and stuff. But like we are the most boring, pickiest eaters ever.
uh,
So our content for a pizza podcast would literally be like, "Yo, that cheese pizza," and you'd be like, "Yup," and I'd be like, "Yup,"
look,
and then
look, if
the journey ends.
COVID weren't a thing and like every week I could go find a different pizza place in the New York area and try it and come back with a
Oh
report,
my, that'd be
that would
awesome.
be cool, but that's not no,
No,
not in
no, you
current
don't feel like
times.
traveling.
Nope.
No, no, that isn't
Yeah.
on the the radar for daily
It has
happenings.
been a many months since I got on the subway.
Oh my God, yeah, no, I haven't taken public transport in for like actually even going into like stores has been like non-existent because like my grocery
Yeah.
store near me, I pay $5 and they deliver it to me. And it's like even outside of COVID, that's such a good bargain just for my time. Like not spending an hour and a half or an hour in a store,
Hmm.
getting everything and just paying you $5. It's like the stereotypical lazy American, but it's like holy shit, man. Like that's such a nice feeling because I do not enjoy going to the. Oh, another thing, I've until college, and my best friend called me out on this. I always called it grocery store shopping, and she was like, "Are you shopping for grocery stores?" I'm like, "No, you just go to you grocery store shopping." She's like, "Just grocery shopping," and I'm like, "Oh."
Oh
So
man.
I'm not sure if that is like an only me thing, but I felt very attacked in that moment of like, holy shit, I have called it this to probably hundreds of people, and no one has ever been like, that doesn't make sense. Like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Look,
Oh my goodness.
I
That's
read
great stuff.
I read Detective Comics.
Comics. Yes. I would say our transition from the last episode, now that we've got the pizza COVID pre talk out of the way,
Yeah.
Hank and I left off on the note of worst comic book storylines and or
I think it was
characters and or
weirdest. I don't
things.
think it was worst.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it might be weirdest. I will take your word for it because clearly, look at the beginning of this episode, my memory. I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Fletcher. Um, you are so much more knowledgeable about this than I am, so I will gladly let you take the lead on one of. You don't have to say like because I feel like whenever someone says like, "Oh, your top five or number one or number 10," like that usually puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So one of the most memorable, weirdest comic book storylines that you have read and or have heard of, I'd be love to hear.
Uh, like the actual weirdest, it's so fucking hard. Cause like honestly, the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's like, if I go weirdest, it's like the stuff that was off-putting. But that's not really what I want to
Like
Talk about
off-putting in
Evie.
like an uncomfortable way, or like this doesn't make sense?
Yeah, like when Miss Marvel got impregnated by an alien dude against her consent, and all the Avengers decided that was cool, and then they
Uh,
sent her off with that guy, and also that guy impregnated her with himself, and
yeah,
like
see,
that
this
that
is
story just
like
went off like it was cool until Chris Claremont brought it back, and it we did a story where she goes, "What the fuck, guys?"
like the best part about this is if like you can totally make something up
Uh
and
huh.
I believe you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of trust going on, but also part of me like wishes that like you'll just throw in like one completely false one and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's believable, dude." Like I totally get that. I would say like because you both read DC and Marvel, do you think one or the other has the tendency to do more adventurous or weirder storylines or directions than the other one, or do you think it's pretty even?
Well, DC had the Silver Age where literally the whole point of the comics was put something wild on the cover to get kids
Mm-hmm.
to buy it. Um so and that's like the most pure just weirdness. Whereas like Marvel has always been serialized stories and like more focused on the soap opera stuff and like more grounded in that way, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's that distinction where like DC has this whole era of comics that was just about being weird and not about character at all.
Yeah, just like literally clickbait
Yeah.
before
Whereas
clickbait.
Marvel at least has like our character like Stan Lee going, our characters need to have feet of clay. They need to be like human in that way.
Mm,
So there's
totally.
that.
And then would you say is there a certain because one of my favorite things is like discovering like weird one-off superheroes and or supervillains that are just so gimmicky
Hmm.
and weird.
Like
And I was going to ask you if you have any favorites off the top of your head because I can definitely think of a few.
favorites is probably harder. Because
Okay.
like I can think like one of the classic one-off stupid ones is like Snowflame, who's literally his power is he does cocaine and he gets more powerful.
Is that Marvel or
I,
DC?
I don't even fucking remember.
What is his name?
Snowflame.
Snow Flame Super DC.
DC. Yeah.
Damn. 1988.
Yeah.
That's more recent than I would guess.
No, that's
Wow.
that's when people started because if you go any earlier, the Comics Code like banned any mention of drugs. So it wasn't until the 80s where people
Uh,
started like
so
like
once that was
mentioning
off, they were
that
like,
stuff. Yeah.
uh,
Like
fucking like mask off. Like, holy shit. They really just like didn't even like slowly like, all right, now that it's gone, let's kind of itch our way. Nah, just that's it.
yeah, like a lot of the
Freaking
early Green Goblin comics, if you read them now, they feel kind of like anti-drug PSA comics about Norman Osborn going crazy and like
mm-hmm.
doing using this Green Goblin serum and becoming a different person. Or and like a lot of it was like the Terry Osborn stuff is literally just him being a drug addict around that time.
And then just
And
yeah,
it's
just
like
there.
it that's just how it like the way they were writing it, that's just how it feels now. It's like
Yeah, like
because
yeah,
it's
because we
so
have the
over the
hindsight of
top
like
and
the war on drugs and shit
yeah.
being, oh my god, I definitely like the one that my friend told me about that like I didn't like believe because like he's pretty trolly was fucking Dog Welder.
Oh yeah.
Like for those that don't know, his gimmick or shtick is that he punishes criminals by welding dogs to their faces, and then that's it. And it's just like, is the writer of that comic like in a prison by now, or like I'm always curious because it's like people thinking of crazy or weird ideas that's fine. There's many of us that do that and do crazy boundary pushing things. The part that I always find interesting is that like how it gets through the multiple layers of editors, approvers, publishers, storefronts. Like that stuff is like, how did it get through all this giant hierarchy of things and everyone's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
It's usually because the
Like,
editor is a piece of shit
I
or
was
something.
like, is it right? Like, it's just so freaking weird, man. It's so bizarre.
Yeah. There's
So
a
that one was
character,
like-
Risk, who in a story
Risk.
got his arm ripped off by an evil version of Superboy. And then they wrote a story where Superboy ripped off his other arm also later down the line. There was just like this weird running thing of characters getting their arms ripped off in DC comics. And then like in like I think it was an issue of Batman Eternal, there was like a character who like had a pile of arms in the
Nice.
lived in the sewer and just had this pile of arms. It's like
Yeah, like
the last time I remember thinking about like what the fuck is going on with DC editorial that they're always like, yeah, and then this character gets their arm ripped off. What is happening?
Speaking of arms falling off, the second person on this list goes by the name of Arm Fall Off Boy from DC, so kind of aligns with your thing. He has the amazing ability to detach his arm and use it as a weapon. They just show him like literally walking up to like a table of people, and he's just like, "My power will astound you," and just smacks them with his fucking detached arm.
I mean,
like, see, I want to be a comic book writer, man. See, like that seems like just one off. So I don't want a whole series. Just give me like a comic book line. I don't know what it would be called, but just like the stupidest shit ever, and that's just my goal, man.
Man.
Another
from the
one is
name, I could
Ice
tell
Cream.
like he was just a Legion of Superheroes character, because that's just like a million kid superheroes in the future, so they can get pretty wild with just like what powers,
what passes as actual powers.
Yeah, you just got a lot of characters.
A lot. Another one that Ice Cream, but spelled EYESCREAM, and his power is to turn into any flavor of ice cream.
Nice.
And you know what? Like that one like is stupid, but at least it's like an actual power sort of. Like you can like at least dodge things, get into certain areas and come back. Like there's some practical use to it. Meanwhile, our boy's dog welder and arm fall off boy, I'm not seeing that same potential. But that could be my poor judgment in the utility of their powers.
Like there's a staple Daredevil villain who's just Stiltman. And he has right. His legs grow really big. That's his thing. Like there are like Kite Man. There's a Kite Man. There's Condiment King. He's a Batman villain.
Well, see, I know Kite Man from the Harley Quinn cartoon, which is fantastic, and I need to binge watch the second season. But Stiltman, yes, 1965.
And then there's Lady Stiltman.
Hold on one second. Lady Stiltman, because we are. When did 1965 also? Okay. It's real. Lady Stiltman is revealed to be a victim of a skin over an embarrassing sex video, among other. Huh.
Yeah.
In 1965, that was their storyline. That's actually kind of like pretty interesting. Like a sex tape being like the focal plot line for your character, but like also yay equality. Like oh my goodness. Lady Stiltman and Stiltman. Wow, that is something else. This one keeps coming up a lot. Matter Eater Lad.
Yeah,
this guy can eat anything and that's it.
Yeah, he's another member of the Legion.
What I want to know is how fast does he eat things, because that would impact his ability to be useful.
Sure.
If you get anything super quick, then like, yeah, dude, there's like a fort, there's like
I think he's
tanks,
pretty
ships.
fast.
Okay.
But
So then that isn't too bad.
he is very fast.
He has utility.
He's like a sphere.
I was gonna say like, but like the thing is like also like weapons. If, like let someone threw a grenade at him, like he can technically eat it. Is he going to survive?
Yeah.
Like, can he?
Yeah.
Once it's in his, you know what? Then that's not too bad. That's weird, but I feel like there's like utility around it that you can do.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, I don't know. There's some mutant that's like literally just a brain in a jar, and that's kind of a bad life.
It just like freaking, it reminds me of the Futurama president's heads.
Yeah. Like, they're just some mutants that just got the short end of the superpower stick, and like they're just gross.
Yeah. Just gross. Like, actually, what was it? The X-Men 3 movie storyline where you can be cured? Like,
Yeah.
Can you really judge those people? Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Weirdest mutants.
I mean, there's a character whose his power is not that weird, but it's just hilarious. His name and how big a character he is Gold Balls. As he makes floating
Do
gold
I type
balls.
this into my Google search? He can shoot gold-colored balls from his body. Just don't ask what they're made of.
Great.
But like, again, super weird. But there's some utility there.
And that he was like a major character in an X-Men book, and in multiple runs of X-Men he's been.
Why
a major
was he not like? Wolverine had so many solo movies. Where's this man's solo movies?
I mean, he hasn't been around for that long.
Like he has not. 2013.
Yeah,
he's very recent.
Yeah.
He's a support characters in stories featuring Miles Morales. Oh my god! Imagine if he was in the freaking new Spider-Man game. That would actually be. I might have to get a PS5 just to experience that.
Balls. Yeah, the problem with like stuff like that is the licensing for like a lot of that stuff is like siloed off for the characters. Like there's a Spider-Man license does not get you all the X-Men.
No, but you know, I'm sure that Gold Ball licensing that's going to cost Sony a real pretty penny. Oh my. Tag's secret power is he tags people, which causes them to emit a signal that makes everyone else run away. Well, some people have that power without, you know, having the tag power just make everyone else run away. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the best. Wait. Oh my god, I was about to X out the page. There's a super Ugly John. Ugly John's power is that he has 3 faces, all of which are ugly. That is his power. Wow. You were not kidding about these mutants, like literally just being ugly sacks of shit, and that is their storyline, character design, everything. But speaking of which,
yeah,
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that is your favorite superhero of all time, correct?
Yeah.
Or okay, so then
I mean, as a kid, my favorite comic book character was Venom. I was obsessed with Venom. But,
yes, because Venom was like cool and edgy without being like forced edginess.
He would murder the bad guys, and that just seemed practical.
Right? Like, just that's what needs to happen.
Also, he had that cool mouth of teeth. It's just cool.
And little kid brains are just so basic. It's like, oh my god, making the thing that I know like different color to be evil. It's like, yes. That's all I ever wanted in my character design. Like, just gets you so hyped, like Sonic and Shadow. Like, when I first saw Shadow as, like, whatever, little kid, I was like, this is the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, so, like,
but with Spider-Man,
my first thing with collecting comics books, so I just tried to collect every issue of Venom. And Venom was weird because, like, Marvel, for whatever reason, in the 90s, Marvel was uncomfortable with the idea of a Venom ongoing, like an ongoing series about a bad guy. weirdly enough. They weren't comfortable with
Okay.
it. So they just kept doing running miniseries. They would do like one 4-issue miniseries after another, is how they did the Venom book until like they stopped. It was just like
That
no
doesn't.
other character. They haven't done that with. I can't think of another character that's done that where they were just completely unwilling to give him an ongoing for a long time.
Would that to a casual person that kind of sounds like more accessible, or am I wrong in thinking that?
I mean, it's more number ones, and number ones sell
Oh,
better.
okay.
So, like theoretically,
So that's like, okay.
but it was an
Yeah, that.
ongoing. It was kind of an ongoing story, and like I don't know, the art would change a lot more though.
Mm.
Uh, but and like eventually, and like the writers could be more fluid. Like they had more leeway on that stuff until like at some point, fucking Larry Hama started writing it. Who's like the creator of GI Joe.
Oh God.
He wrote. He wrote the comic where Venom and Carnage fight over the internet, and
All right,
that's
hold on. Now we're getting back to our original topic of weirdest.
Venom gets
book
mad because they
storyline.
make a Carnage video game, a Carnage computer game, and Venom gets mad about it because he's like, "You guys made a video game about a serial, like a sociopathic serial killer. Fuck is wrong with you?" Also, he's like, "Kids with these video games." And also, Carnage just murders people through the internet using his video game. He just sends a symbiote through the computer. But the best part is that there's the climactic fight between Venom and Carnage, which is like, so it's depicted as like there's a little strain of Venom symbiote and a little strain of Carnage symbiote in the computer, like going at each other is like what's actually happening. But then on the big screen TVs, it's like somehow imagined as Carnage and Venom actually fighting, like as full people.
And wasn't there like a Carnage video game like long ago?
Well, there's a Super
Is
Nintendo Maximum Carnage.
So is that tied in at all, or no? Can that be like the storyline and be super meta? A video game.
Well,
within
no,
a video game?
because Carnage's game in the comic is a computer game. Again, so he can murder people through the computers.
NESs are safe though.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how you sell the video game. Literally, you will die if Carnage will literally kill you if you are a PC gamer.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's good shit. And I was gonna ask you, in my opinion, just as like a casual, general public sort of person, I would say like Spider-Man has had like such a huge resurgence over the past 5 or 6 years, and even though he's always been relevant, I feel like it's kind of reached like a new fever pitch.
Well, the Marvel movies matter the most in terms of superhero
Yes.
stuff, and since he got back into he got into like the
Oh, that was
Marvel
huge,
Universe
yeah.
stuff. That's definitely
And then
a big part of it.
what's his face plays him? I forget the actor's name.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, and people are like
Yeah.
obsessed with him.
Yeah.
So that also helps.
He's a
I would
good
say,
Peter
like,
Parker, whereas like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies were bad. Those were bad movies. The way they characterized Peter Parker in those movies was bad.
What would you say? Did you have like a standout like criticism and or like, oh no, this like what was kind of
For
like
for the Andrew Garfield ones?
Yeah, that kind of like was like the snap in your head of like, all right, nope, I'm done.
I mean,
This is
with the
bullshit.
first one, the suit just fucking looked ugly.
Okay.
In terms of like why I didn't like it at first, like I just thought it looked bad. They got it.
Yes.
The suit at least looks better in the second one, but the problem with the first one is it's like they didn't give Spider-Man a sense of responsibility. Like he doesn't he doesn't figure out he should be doing good things until like Dennis Leary yells at him at a dinner party. like he doesn't, it does, because it's trying to like skip the Uncle Ben stuff. It kind of creates a weird Spider-Man that doesn't have like the moral. He doesn't have the sense. Like it doesn't hit those buttons, and it forgets to. So it just doesn't. And his Peter Parker is not enough of a nerd.
Okay.
He like carries around a skateboard, or whatever. It's like they're like shorthand for who this person is. I don't know. It was bad. Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield actually have good chemistry in those movies, which is why they kill her off in the second one.
I was gonna say I never saw the second one.
Yeah.
I only saw the first one.
The problem with the second one is, fuck, why am I blanking on his name? I like literally had it in my head, and then
the villain, Electro.
Like their version of Electro.
Oh, with Jamie Foxx.
It's played by Jamie Foxx. It's terrible.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx is
I
fucking awful in that movie.
Like
just the way they characterized him was really bad.
He didn't look good at all. Like that was such a huge turnoff to me because like Electro, I was like, I'm pretty much like a sucker for any sort of villain and or superhero that like can do shit with electricity. So like as a kid, Storm was like bae, and then with the Spider-Man PlayStation video games when Electro was in it, I was like, oh, holy shit, man. Like, this is the coolest superhero I've ever seen. You know, supervillain.
Yeah.
Coolest character in, like, a superhero world, you know? And then I saw, like, the CG. It doesn't look right. It just looks weird. It looks off-putting. Like, I get it. Like, superheroes, there's, like, a certain suspense of disbelief with, you know, what's believable or not. But, like, I feel like it just was, like, it missed both.
Man.
Like, it tried to, I feel like, almost middleman between being like realistic or being like too kind of superhero-y, quote unquote, and it just like fell flat for me at least.
Man, the best part of Amazing Spider-Man 2 though is that Dennis Leary plays Gwen Stacy's dad, who's Captain George Stacy, police officer. So he dies in the first movie, and then in the second movie, he just shows up as a ghost that's like standing there. He doesn't say anything. He's just silently judging Peter Parker, like a lot throughout the movie, and it's hilarious. That's easily my favorite part about either of those movies is Dennis Leary showing up to silently judge Spider-Man.
That just seems so gimmicky and dumb.
It's
probably
fucking stupid. But it's hilarious.
Like, did sort of well, like if I remember correctly, like at the box office, which is like,
I mean,
better. Like
there's Spider-Man. Spider-Man has name brand recognition. I don't know. I really hated how his suit looked in the first movie. It looked really bad.
Oh, I need to look that up. Amazing Spider-Man, because the second one looks like more.
Yeah, the suit from the Spider-Man suit in the second one looks fine. The movie just has plenty of other problems, but again, like
I see what you
the actual highlight is Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry is actually good.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. He doesn't feel like Peter Parker. Is the character problem on that end.
And then, do you have thoughts on Mr. Tobey's trilogy of Spider-Man?
Those movies aren't funny enough. Like, they don't quip enough, and they speechify too much. They're big, dramatic speeches I fucking hate. Like, when Aunt May's talking to him in the hospital or whatever about whatever. Like, I don't enjoy that.
Yeah, like, they do too much telling, not showing, or whatever the saying is.
It's like it's just speechifying. Like, it's just a character talking about how stuff, I don't know. They don't feel.
Did you have a favorite out of the trilogy?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes I think I like 2 better. Sometimes I just like 3 just because it does have Venom. Even though their version of Eddie Brock is bad, and their version of Venom isn't very good either. It still has Venom, and when it comes to Venom, I pretty much don't care about the quality. I'm just happy that Venom is there. As a reader of Venom comics, which were mostly not good, I just like them.
No, that makes sense. You have a soft spot for the character, and just seeing
Yeah,
him, like,
even
up
if it's
there.
like not a great interpretation, like, I mean, he's still there. And I don't I actually like kind of what they did with the third movie, where the villains aren't there to be their own thing. They're there to be reflections of the different parts of Peter that suck. Like the villain of Spider-Man 3 is Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Yeah. So like the way they do Sandman, Harry Osborn is Hobgoblin, and Venom, they're just all like mirror reflections of Peter's own failings and stuff. So I like that part. Okay. Yeah, like their version of Mary Jane in those movies is not. It's not a good version of Mary Jane in terms of what that character should be.
What would you say like was missing, or what you would have liked to seen more of?
Like more active. Like Mary Jane is like a party girl originally, and that Mary Jane never had any fun. For one thing. Also,
that's a good
like,
point.
More capable. I don't know. Like one of my favorite 90s Spider-Man stories is like a 6-part story or something where Chameleon is like mentally like fucking with Spider-Man the whole time and like putting him through hell, and the story ends with Mary Jane hitting Chameleon with a baseball bat, and then he's done.
And then he's done. Yeah,
that's how that story ends. Just Mary Jane comes home and hits him with a baseball bat, and we're good.
And they just, wipe your hands clean. You're done. Good. I loved like the way that she looked, for the part. Like when I think of Mary Jane, like I still visualize Kristen Dunst.
Yeah.
But like, I definitely agree. Like just even thinking back, like she has like the depressing backstory with home life, and then
which is part of Mary Jane's like retconned backstory, but that was like a reveal to like add depth to a character that seemed like the complete opposite. For one thing. Yeah, like I don't hate Kristen Dunst in those movies, but that character just doesn't feel like Mary Jane
just like the character. Yeah. But I feel like in general, like, well, we've come a long way, but just like female characters in movies in general, let alone female characters in like comic book movies, especially when they're like the love interest, like it's been pretty lackluster in their ability to make them dynamic.
I mean, it's not like the plot lines in comics around Mary Jane in the 90s were also not good, because they were first, Mary Jane's become a smoker. That was a bad one. And then Mary Jane's become pregnant and has a miscarriage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So like
that's also
very,
not good. and then she was being stalked by a dude and Peter wasn't helping, and then she got on a plane and it exploded, and she was presumed dead for like a year and a half real time, and then the story was she had been like locked in a dude's basement that whole time when they decided to bring her back.
I feel like that's like every like media narrative at the time, like war on drugs bad, kids being kidnapped, like every kind of PSA that they would want. They're like, all right, Mary, which character do we have to promote this? All right, just throw Mary Jane in there, it's fine.
There was like one cool part where that's like locked in a taxi, and it's like about to blow up, and she kicks out the fucking window herself. And just like, nice. And Peter shows up late, and she's just pissed at him.
Like the fuck, man! It was about to blow up.
Yeah, but then they put her on a plane that explodes like the next issue, so it's not so cool. And in an issue that's weirdly comedic, like it's a really bad comic. It's like about this fucking skateboarding person or something. And then Mary Jane blows up at the end.
and then they all blow up, like that fucking SpongeBob episode.
Yeah.
It goes straight to your hips, and then you blow up.
And then like 2 issues later, they do the comic where Spider-Man, I think it's Spider-Woman, but she's psychic, and there's like a bit about, she says, "Oh, you're the first person who hasn't pictured me naked," and then it's like, up until now.
Like, you can't just say that.
Yeah.
Like,
but like,
instantly it'll pop
but
in
like,
your head.
this is like the issue, like after he found out his wife was dead.
Oh,
It's like, and they're going into like bits. It's just like, what are you guys doing?
Shit. You're just throwing fucking darts at a
They're
board
just like,
at that point.
yeah, they didn't know how to write stories about Spider-Man married, and they wrote bad ones, and then their solution just kept trying to be like, let's just get rid of her somehow.
Get rid of her.
But in their defense for not wanting them married, they're only married in mainstream continuity because Stan Lee had them get married in the newspaper comic. And then they made them married in main continuity, even though they really weren't together at the time, just because that was like a big news event to get eyeballs.
Like, they'll get headlines.
Yeah, so that's like they didn't really build into them being married properly in the comics.
Yeah, it was something that they kind of just.
But then, like like people, college fans my age, are like just think of them as being together because in the '90s they were just married, and that was the thing when you read all the comics. That was they were together or whatever.
Yeah,
no, it was a little more contrived than you might think.
True. And then, do you have like any thoughts on Miles and like his story through Spider-Man, multiverse, and then now with like the new game and kind of what they've done with his character?
Miles is fucking great.
Yeah.
What a good Spider-Man. And I like legacy characters in general, characters that are like I'm like, I really like, there's a Hawkeye Kate Beacon, and just her and Clint Barton are just both Hawkeye, and that's great. So I just like that shit. I just like there being younger versions of characters who are just someone else but just have the same superhero name. Like, I don't have, like, in terms of marketing, I get why they maybe don't always want to do that, but I just think that's great. Like, I just think Dick Grayson should also be Batman at this point, always.
Yeah, no, I love that. I was going to bring up like Batman and Robin, like how there's so many like different Robins, and then there's different stories, and then what was it, Batman Beyond, where Bruce Wayne then is like mentoring,
Yeah, Toby.
Yeah, it was just like I love that shit too. Because like we've grown attached to not only like the superhero, kind of figure, but also the character behind it. So
but
like interesting to us.
These, like, comic books are soap operas, and you want the story to like push forward. And if you hold the characters, it's hard to age the characters, like, but you still want to have those stories about teenage characters. I think it's a way better thing to have, like, the characters actually age up. Like, Chris Claremont's X-Men run really tried to do that. Like, he tried to have the older X-Men characters retire at one point as that story kept going, and then eventually Marvel Editorial brought them back. Like, but he tried to like give Cyclops a happy ending or whatever. But
because they're attached to the characters and stuff, and like you said, like they can't do it too often.
Yeah, but the companies are attached to the brand.
Yes.
And then the brand of those original identities of characters too. But I mean, also, like, legacy characters are a better way, or easy way to get more diversity in, which is always good. Just like new versions, like, keep it, like, we don't, I don't know, the characters don't need to be static from 1960.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, is like, how many times or different angles can you think of with the same character?
Like, you can do a lot, but you also want you need lifeblood. It needs to still be a living thing.
Or even like be like relatable or applicable to new viewers, new readers, etc. Because, characters designed or made of in the 60s, 70s, 50s, whatever,
Mm.
um, as interests, social dynamics, society changes as a whole, like they can still have their core values or core fundamentals of as a character, but then the kind of recast allows them to be more updated to those societal norms, so like the message gets across more and isn't just viewed
Yeah.
as like outdated, old, boring,
And like
etc.
like part of that like theoretical appeal of Spider-Man is he's the everyman. So
Yes.
if he's the everyman, then he can be any person. So why not
Mm-hmm.
just make anyone can be Spider-Man? So I like any
Exactly.
story where someone else becomes Spider-Man. That's great.
Yeah, because it makes
like
sense, like you
like
said.
Spider's Man, the cloud of spiders that consumed Peter Parker and then got his morality and decided to be a superhero and became Spider's Man after they ate Peter Parker. So they also occasionally talk about eating people. But, they're a good guy.
And see, now we're back to square one of weirdest superheroes and that guy that can eat everything. Full circle moment.
Yeah.
Holy shit. But I'm like, I really, really enjoyed the Spider-Man video game, and I am super excited to see what they do with the Miles game, because supposedly it's kind of just like more of a Spider-Man 1.5 sort of thing. Like it's
Yeah,
a
well,
new game, but it
it's
isn't
built on the
like,
same map. It's like the Uncharted Lost Legacy game in terms of like scope, I guess.
yeah. And then what I was gonna say, what game systems do you own?
I have a PS4
Okay. So then I
and
was
a
gonna say, are you
Switch.
gonna plan on picking up Mr. Miles?
I already have it installed. I'm going to play it as soon as we're done with this.
Is Hank going to stream it?
I don't.
Dun, dun, dun.
That thing's so story focused, and I don't want to mute the music. I'm gonna stream.
Oh, true.
Next time I stream, it's gonna be streaming Magic, but I want to get to Miles right now. So
No, that's a perfect leave-off point because that game is very exciting. But thank you all for joining us. We love you all. Uh, in the next episode, do we have a lead-off idea
nope.
or no? Nope. Okay. We'll think of something by the time you listen to the next episode. Love you all. Stay safe.
Also, I
Drink
set up
water.
an email
Also,
address for the podcast. If you want to send us a question or comment or thought, email us at heartscreampodcast@gmail.com.
yes, send us your thoughts. We need. Just kidding. So stupid. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Yeah, we would love to answer any questions, comments, tackle any topics you would like us to see tackled, because we are figuring out what to podcast about. But in the next episode, you know what our leadoff can be is Hank's experience with Miles game. Bam.
Oh, okay.
There you
Yeah,
go.
sure.
Get some thoughts, because I'm excited to see that game. I was very impressed with the first one. I thought they did a fantastic job. Seems like they have a good team. And they have a lot of good base material to work with, so it should be an easy home run for them. And hopefully, I know they have some tight competition with launch titles such as Bug Snatch, but I have faith in them to pull it off. Until next time. Bye-bye.